Not many seaside destinations are quite like this one. Aggressively banked corners, high-speed turns, and a quite decent start-finish straight to boot. This is Circuit Zandvoort, and it's RCR's party destination for round 13 of our 24-round season. 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left. It has 2 DRS zones to provide some great overtaking opportunities, especially one on the aforementioned start-finish straight, starting at the banked corner of turn 14. This 4.259 kilometer circuit is certainly going to be a test for all these drivers today. The championship is as close as ever. Last week, Binary won Spa-Francorchamps ahead of CJ, and that brings his points total ever closer, just 12 points behind his teammates now in challenge and contention for the Drivers' Championship this season. Red Bull are in lead of the Constructors' Championship over RB by 104 points. BX10 and Websy missing last week, so unfortunately did not score any points. BXTN finishing second, so did quite well indeed, especially in such a chaotic race. On board with the drivers, this is our short qualifying session, so essentially got 18 minutes, essentially 17, 16 minutes of on-track action. That we should have 14 drivers here today. Data broadcast. And we'll go on board with the first driver in the line, which is today Huffendobach. So Huffendobach set a quite decent time in the practice session earlier on today, as FR Element has disconnected from the session. I'm sure he'll be able to get back in though very shortly. Huffendobach rounding out turn 13 and into the banking of 14. You see him open the DRS there and start his way to begin his qualifying lap. Here we go. So then, got to get the car tucked in nicely, slow down, but keep the speed up. Get back on the power as soon as possible. Traction, you're going to feel the back end kind of complain out of that corner, very much like turn 2 of Canada. And it's into the sweeping left, right, left, into the banking of turn 4, and then flat out all the way down through turns 5, 6, 7. 7, a sweeping right-hander. You just gear down one gear and let the car roll through to the outside curb, using as much of the track as possible as ever with these Formula 1 cars to maximise the pace going in. Huffendobach getting incredibly close there to the traffic. Did well to get out of his way, but that would have put the driver off slightly from going through there like that. So far, so good for Huff. He's doing incredibly well to keep up the speed. He set a 109.8, I believe, in practice. Let's see what his time is going to be here. Looks like it's going to be a 109 again. And it is. It's a 109.600. And that puts him in a very good place for this qualifying session as the track ramps up. Owen with a 113.997. The weather looks slightly overcast. The CJ puts in a 109.7. So a 10th off. David Kovalaki crosses the line. 111.0. Puts him ahead of Owen, but he's still got some time to make up to get in close contact with CJ and Huffendobach. Reese Max dealing with some traffic there. I don't know who that was. He'll be very upset by that. It's not exactly easy to have full focus and set your absolute best qualifying lap and then in the middle of it be interrupted by another driver who's not even on a lap. Reece Max will not be happy. It's going to look like he's going to be in the 111s here. It is a 111. No, it's a 112, even worse, and it was invalidated. Oh, he did set his time in. We'll go on board with Lex. Lex missed last week. He's currently 4th in the driver's standings. 72 points off CJ. He had 3 wins at the beginning of the season, back to back to back. But has not won since. Lex fastest in the first sector. He has looked fast here. He topped the practice timing sheets. What will he be able to do here now? This short DRS zone will hopefully provide some great overtaking in the race. And it's Lex, purple, first and middle sector. He's coming up to the start-finish line. He's absolutely flat out. Rear wing open, cross the line. It's a 1:09.505. And that has put Lex on provisional pole. A man who will be looking for a bit of redemption this week. Qualified 2nd on the grid last week in Belgium, but finished 8th. Slazenger of Volvo. Has been putting in the work to try and bring himself into this championship. He is well behind. Back 115 points. And unfortunately isn't fastest in the second sector. Where is this going to leave him though? Huff and Dolbach with that incredible time of a 1:09.6. We rarely see Huff and Dolbach up on the front row. Got an average qualifying of 5th. As Slaz comes into the pits after invalidating his lap. Quite a common theme really for Slaz, invalidating. Sadly. Lex is going to box by the looks of it. Yep. Is anybody out on a lap? Doesn't look like it. We've got CJ and Huff and Dolbach on an out lap. Here goes Huff and Dolbach again. Looking to get that final 10th in this session and put himself on provisional pole. Rich history here in Zandvoort. Suffered over a 30-year hiatus from Formula One, returned to the calendar in 2020 and has been a fan favourite ever since. And this is all Huff and Dolbach now. It's up to him. 2.2 seconds down on his time. So it looks like he's going to attempt again. We'll go on board with CJ then. Short margins on this 1:10 track, essentially. If we average it out across everyone's times. See what CJ has in his pocket. It can be difficult to pull out 2/10 on this short circuit. Down on his time as well. I think the track is not giving the grip that these drivers expect. And the overcast weather is not doing anyone any favours unless the game is telling us lies. We'll see how fast Huff and Dolbach is in the first sector on this lap. He's faster. Okay, so maybe those were out laps. Both CJ and Huff. Nice utilization of the whole track there and getting it swept back in for turn 10. Got a yellow. I think that's just someone slowing down though to allow a car past. And Huffendorback is fastest in the second sector. He only has a 10th. He only needs to gain a 10th. Maybe he can find that in these final 3 corners of the third sector. Crossing the penultimate corner now. Out of turn 14. DRS open. Coming up to the line and instead jumps into the box. Interesting. CJ doing the same. Coming across the start-finish line now. This is 109.416. Improved on his time and half a 10th faster than Lex as Huffendorback returns to the pits. Binary puts in a 109.689. Slaz. That's not Slaz. That is Lex. Starting his lap now. The XTN also on a lap. The XTN did 110 in practice. Can he improve here? He does. He puts in a 109.359. Puts it on provisional pole. Well done to BXTN. Jumping on board with Binary. Yeah, we'll stick with Binary, who is just ahead. Sorry. Who's just ahead of Lex on track. Down on his time though. So another warm-up lap. Lex massively improving. He's just invalidated his lap time though. He was up on his time by half a second. And that would have put him close to CJ. CJ has put in a 109.440. Huffendorback being pushed down the order. So then we are at the calm before the storm. We've got Reese, Max and Ace out on track at the moment, but everyone else is in the pit lane preparing for their final runs. Owen early out of the box, out of the pit lane, now going through turn 4 and that impressive banking. You really feel the sense of speed on this track. Just watch as he gears down and swings in. This is just the out lap. Doesn't even have to gear down there. Oh, yes, it does. We'll get a real sense of speed and commitment, especially from Owen, as he showed some great pace last week. Did qualify 3rd and finish 4th, but still, it's quite a chaotic race with a late safety car and many excursions off the track for many drivers. So to finish 4th, Owen did well. Well, here we go then, Owen's lap. DRS open, and it begins now. Coming up to turn 1, you want to gear down as much to 3rd, and then get it turned in. Pinch the corner nicely there. Can't ride too many curbs here. Got to avoid them like the plague. Especially in these medium speed sections. And Owen on the grass slightly. Gets away with it though, I think. But he is down on his time. Down by only 100th of a second. He needs to pick up some pace here. He did get into the 109s in practice. There's no doubt that he can do it again in qualifying. But this is where you question the driver's nerves. Well, as we speak about nerves, Owen proves us wrong and goes nearly 4/10 faster in the middle sector alone. This track is ramping up, but Owen is fully committed. Almost invalidates his lap. High up, out of turn 14. Coming up to the start-finish line, crosses it. It's a 1:11.419. Unfortunately, I feel like that near invalidation out of turn 14 has unfortunately cost Owen a great lap there. Does he have time to come back in and get back out again? Maybe, maybe not. It'd be a bit touch and go, but I think it may be possible. So then, who is out on a lap at the moment? I think Binary is doing a actual lap, but we'll see. I think there's been a few drivers really that, you know, I have to watch out for who's not on an out lap. And I think there's been a few drivers doing two laps. Yeah, so Binary again. One of those people. Oh, hope you can forgive me for for watching people who aren't on qualifying laps. It takes a little bit to recognise it. I have to essentially wait until they cross the sector line to see whether they're dramatically up or dramatically down on their time. FR Element is quite dramatically up on his time. He's 7/10 up. That's going to put him near ace, but as it stands, he's not improving and he has just invalidated his lap. May need to do a aggressive cooldown so he'll only have one more stab at it. CJ's retired from the session. Slazenger Volvo begins his lap now. A Binary on a lap as well. At the moment, it's BXTN on provisional pole with a 1:09.359. Keeping an eye out for the likes of Lex. For the likes of Binary. Is that Binary about to cross the line? It is. Goes into the pit lane, so he's abandoning his lap. Binary down in 6th then. We'll stick with Slazenger, who's just invalidated his time, so he's going to start from the very back. Unless he can put in an absolutely stellar lap now. It's a 1:09.6, but he's going to have no ERS. Owen is up on his time. Dolbach has just begun his lap. The XTN beginning his lap as well. Who else is in contention for provisional pole here? Owen has slowed down. So is Dolbach and BXTN, who's already got provisional pole. Ooh, a little bit. Little bit of oversteer there as he clipped the inside curb of 10. But he's up on his time and he's actually fastest in the middle sector. But he's only up by a 10th. A 10th would get him ahead of Owen, but not ahead of Lex, not ahead of BXTN. That's for sure. Oh, as Dolbach losing control of the car has collided with the wall. I'm not sure if that was total loss of control or just the fact that he'd given up on his lap and slammed it into the wall. Santry then. Currently on a 1:09.7. Across the line, it's a 1:09.716. Improves by 1,000th of a second. David Kovalaki doesn't improve. Reese Max does not improve. Okay then, so that's BXTN on provisional pole. He did what he had to do right from the get-go. Everyone else very much struggled. Everyone, in fact, including BXTN, struggled to get them laps in at the very end. So nobody really did a last lap run. We had many drivers retiring from the session before it was even over. And that is your starting grid then. So we'll go through it. On the front row, we've got BXTN in the RB, and I'm Mr. DJ CJ in the Red Bull. It's Lex and Owen on the second row, Huff and Dolbach and Binary on the third. Binary, don't forget, is in close contention for that Drivers' Championship. However, this will definitely shake it up if it finishes this way. Obviously, it won't, but if it does, Binary is in some serious trouble. Santry, David Kovalaki share the fourth row, and then on the fifth row, the last points paying positions. Wow. Anyway, Ace and Reese Max on the fifth row, sixth row, FR Element and Sassinger Volvo, and finally it is Cottony Goblin, the lone soldier, in 13th on the seventh row of the grid. Okay then, so let's go over the standings yet again, and at the moment we are just in our brief period of drivers picking their strategies and having a little break before the race. It is a 50% race that they will be going into. So as I said before though, at the top of the Drivers' Championship we have I'm Mr. DJ CJ, 12 points ahead of Binary, who did pick up some points over him last week. BXTN says that the time is going to be 10 o'clock for the start, so it's actually just a minute away. Lex, Websy, at the moment, quite far off. BXTN as well, quite far off the Drivers' Championship. However, we've got plenty of rounds left in our 24-round season, and everything can turn on its head between now and then. Red Bull have a decent lead in the championship, although it looks like it may be a runaway for Red Bull on the Constructors' Championship, as they are already 104 points away from RB, and the two drivers in Red Bull are sharing the top two spots in the Drivers' Championship. So quite the stacked team for Red Bull. As I said before, 14 corners of this 4.259 kilometer circuit, 2 DRS zones. 10 corners go right, and only 4 of those corners go left. So quite a bias to the right corners. So we're moments away from the formation lap. Most wins at the Dutch Grand Prix belongs to Jim Clark, having won Zandvoort on 4 occasions, unlike Max Verstappen's 3. Clark won in 1963, 64, 65, and 67. You would think he'd probably get a few more wins under his belt, although his untimely death prevented that from happening. Here we go. Formation lap begins, and we will get our tyre data on the screen. That. So then, an interesting split of strategies. Got BXTN and I'm Mr. DJ CJ on the medium tyre. CJ going to have to be careful of Lex behind on those softs. Lex going for the more aggressive approach. Owen and Huffendale back medium soft. Binary down in 6th place. Sassinger Volvo has opted to go on the hard tyre. The only driver to opt to go on the hard tyre. What that essentially means for Saz is he will go longer into the race than anybody else. The best way that he can maximise his strategy is 1, by praying that there are no safety cars early on in this race, and 2, being faster than a few of those ahead of him on the harder compound. If he can make some overtakes on this hard tyre, he can really bring his race back into play. But it's quite difficult to overtake here. Cottony Goblin has left the session. Get Cottony back in. But yes, Slaz has his work cut out for him after waiting till the last minute to put in his qualifying lap and then invalidating it. So all the drivers lining up on the grid now. Cottony Goblin's AI will control him and put him into a grid slot. Probably not favourable. Cottony will join the session back and be able to take control of that car for the remainder of the race. FR Element is out of position on the grid box. But here we go then. Watch the lights. It's lights out. Away we go. Two drivers have picked up drive-through penalties early on for jumping the start. Ace is already up into first, but he's got that drive-through penalty. BXTN and Lex going through turn one. CJ's lost places. CJ's lost 2 places to Huff and Dolbach and Lex, not counting Ace ahead, but they're squabbling for position already. CJ off the line slow, and all those ahead very much faster. Going through turns 1, 2, 3, 4 now. BXTN already making his way up past Ace as Ace jumped the start, and a few drivers confused there. Ace, Reese Max and FR Element all jumping that start. Will have to serve drive-through penalties. Going on board with I'm Mr. DJ CJ. As you can see already a few cars looking to make overtakes round the outside. On the inside, sorry, Lex goes on Ace and Huff and Dolbach already all over the back of him as well. We're going to keep an eye on this battle. As off goes the track, Ace goes off the track. Dramatically off the track and takes to the runoff area. Rejoins. But that is going to hurt his race dramatically. And as you can see, 3 strategies in this. BXTN already a second ahead of Huff and Dolbach. Owen and CJ battling it out. And Owen picking up that place off the championship leader. Chaos already at the start of the Dutch Grand Prix for RCR. We'll go on board with Lex, who is currently hunting down Huff and Dolbach. Lex has showed that he's got pace, and at the moment he's on that soft tyre. Huff and Dolbach is as well, but Lex has DRS. Is he going to try and go for a move on Huff and Dolbach? No, it is quite a short DRS zone there. Lex currently fastest in the second sector though, and hunting down Huff and Dolbach, who has shown incredible pace here. But, well, really, to be honest with you, Huff and Dolbach doesn't really show this kind of pace. Does get up there in the qualifying sessions, but he's maintaining second at the moment. And at the moment, this will be a career best finish. As Huff and Dolbach makes a move on BX10, goes around the outside. That means that he's going to get the inside of turn 4 if he maintains it. BX10 under immense pressure decides to slot in behind Huff and Dolbach, and Lex is already breathing down the neck. But that's allowed Huff and Dolbach some breathing space here between him and Lex. And there's a virtual safety car. Somebody has gone off the track somewhere. And that's nullified the race. It's not going to bring the pack together. The virtual safety car essentially just slowing everyone down and not allowing overtaking to happen. But at the moment, Huff and Dolbach sitting pretty in first place on those soft tyres. And as we've seen, the soft tyre will take you through a one stop in this race. Slaz opting for those hard tyres. Nobody, I don't think, will come into the pits during this virtual safety car. They are quite brief. And let's see what we've got in store, as the virtual safety car no doubt will end very soon. And BX10 is all over the back of Huff and Dolbach at the moment. Virtual safety car has ended. BX10 is all over the back of Huff and Dolbach. Got that DRS open and he's going to make an overtaking move down the start-finish straight. And I'm afraid this may look a little bit easier, or be a bit too easy for BX10. And yes, it were. He stayed on the back of Huff and retakes the lead of this race. CJ currently down in 6th place. Started higher up and has now moved down the order. He's now behind his championship rival at the moment, Binary. Going to be doing absolutely everything he can to regain that place. At the moment, though, we are watching the battle for first. Although it's becoming the battle for second at the moment. Lex is closing in on Huff. He's just 2/10 behind now. But Huff and Dobak does have that DRS with BXTN, and that's going to create a little bit of a DRS train. So the advantage of DRS is essentially nullified because the driver ahead also has DRS as well. So unless Huff and Dobak can make a pass here, which 4/10 back, I don't think is going to be possible, but we'll see. DRS looking incredibly powerful here. Huff and Dobak on the outside of BX10, but he had a little bit of contact. Wheel bumped with BX10 and went off the track out of turn 1. And that's put him incredibly on the back foot, hasn't it? He's going to be very upset with that. Bumping wheels with BX10, going off the track, run a bit wide. It looked a bit slow, to be honest. That run off the track, that collision. I think maybe it was a mixture of bumping wheels and a bit of dramatic understeer, which caused Huff and Dobak to go off. But I'm sure the stewards will review it. But here we are then. Lex was hunting down Huff earlier on, but Huff put himself ahead of BXTN as Lex puts himself ahead of BXTN and stopped Lex from getting past Huff and Dobak. But now Lex is very much in this lead. And this is good for Lex because he's on those soft tyres. So he wants to utilise these as much as possible. He's going to have that clean air. Owen has already made his way up past BX10, but BX10 fighting back. Looking on the inside of the corner. Into turn 1 they go, but Owen's got incredible traction on the outside of 2, and he's going to get the inside of 4. Yes, he does. These two wheel to wheel all the way through turn 4. Incredible stuff. And is it going to continue? Owen cuts just in front of BXTN. And you've got no chance overtaking here through Sector 2. The BX holding back a bit. Huff and Dobak already back on the back of this pack. So much has happened already. And I missed the DJ CJ. I was just checking on him because the end plate of his front wing is missing, which I can intellectually deduce is probably what's the cause of his extreme lack of pace at the moment. As Owen moves up into the lead of this race, which is going to be critical for Lex. As I said before, it's good when Lex was up in the lead with that clean air and he needed to pull away on these soft tyres. But now, Owen is ahead. I think we've had 4 different leaders of this race already. Slaz is closing in on Mr. DJ CJ. Who at the moment I feel is hanging out for a safety car. He could probably switch onto the hard tyre and go to the end from here. Probably. Don't think that will be very beneficial to his race, though. Continues to goal hang at the moment. Ace is already about to be lapped here. Owen on the back of him. Don't forget he's had that drive-through penalty. I think he also boxed for soft tyres. Owen didn't get the DRS off Ace, and Lex has moved back up into first place. Huff and Dobak and Binary. Binary cutting through the field here. And are we starting to see a bit of degradation on these soft tyres? I certainly hope not. And Binary will be very happy with this result at the moment. Qualified low down, but he's ahead of his championship rival CJ at the moment and his teammate. Going to be scoring some good points as it stands for his championship hopes. Close in a little bit more. And at the moment, it's looking like he could be in with a chance of the win as Owen moves back up past Lex and BXTN watches on. We'll see just one stop in this race for most of these drivers. Such a short lap as well. The laps will tick down incredibly quickly. Be about 150 kilometers that we do in total. 36 laps. 8 of them are done. 9.5, 8.5, I'd say, at this point, are done now. Sancho looking incredibly close. Tough and Dolbach has made his way, or making his way up back past Binary. Slots in. Says thank you very much. And takes 4th place. But he needs to get onto the back of BXTN, doesn't it? To make sure he maintains it. Here we go again. Lex and Owen trading places. And once again, Lex is in the lead of this race. Owen looks a bit more under pressure from BXTN this time than he has done before. And BXTN is closing in on Owen. And a tiny lock-up is going to aid BXTN in trying to close in on Owen there. And after that contact with BXTN, Huff and Dolbach is now right behind him again. Just goes to show how close these drivers all are and how much the DRS really does help keep everyone in contention. Speaking of which, you can see that CJ is 5.2 seconds, 5.4 seconds off this pack. And that'll be due to, obviously, the fact that he's not got an end plate on his wing and that he's slipped out of DRS and he's going to be losing time a lot faster than he would be if he had maintained a DRS. Nothing he can do there, though. He's been in a bit of a skirmish with somebody. And is BXTN going to make a move? No, he's not. Looks like the potential was on there, but instead, BXTN waiting, biding his time maybe. No point in throwing up a dive bomb here. Or anywhere, in fact, this early on in the race. Especially when he's still in touch with the win. All these drivers doing incredibly well at the moment. 6.4 seconds. Just keeping tabs on CJ at the moment. Because at the moment he's losing touch with those ahead. He doesn't want to lose too much touch. He may have to box earlier than expected to remove that damage. As it stands, though, he doesn't have to. The rest of them, look at how close they all are together. What an incredible race this has been so far. And Owen is 2-3 tenths behind Lex, who's got some incredible traction, actually, out of turn 14. And that is actually going to put BXTN on the back of Owen instead. BXTN sending it on the inside. Owen leaves a little bit of space, but actually going deeper into the corner. Looks like it's offered up a bit more grip for Owen than it did for BXTN on the inside. BXTN remains in 3rd place and now has the driver that he had a little bit of a tangle with, maybe punted off the track. It looks like a mixture of that and understeer, I will say. But he's got him right behind him, hot on his heels now. And Huff and Dolbach will be seeking a little bit of revenge, I think. Obviously not crashing BXTN out of the race, but Certainly taking third place off him is on the cards for Huff and Doback. Owen. So close behind Lex at the moment. And we've seen last time that Owen got this close, about 2/10 behind. And as Lex went through 13 and 14, he picked up about 3/10 off him. But this time just 2. It may be a switch for the lead again. Owen on the back of Lex. Owen moves to the inside of the corner. Going to be later on the brakes. Does so. Naturally manages to nip it in on the apex. And here comes Lex fighting back. Santry's left the session. Have we got any close battles? We have got close battles, but I'm not going to... We'll try to get Santry back in. It's not fair if he's just disconnected. It seems that the... oh, there's Cotton is left as well. We'll try to get these drivers back in. I know it interrupts with the racing and the stream, but... we do want everyone to be able to join in. It looks like the connection today hasn't been as stable as it usually is, so not very fair. Here we go then. 13 laps into this race. Lex and Owen battling out for the lead. BX10 somewhat sat behind at the moment, not able to make any overtaking impressions or any impression on this race as Lex and Owen trade DRS for DRS and overtake for overtake on the start-finish straight. I think it's going to be another case of that here. Ace has just retired from the session and caused a safety car. And into the pits, dives Owen. Dives into the pits. Lots of drivers opting this. CJ will be very happy with this now. This nullifies the race. Gives him that safety car. And I think most drivers will switch onto the hard tyre. Set of hards for CJ and the new front wing. So we'll slightly put him a bit further behind, I think. He'll be very happy with that. It's to be expected, isn't it? Santry, interestingly, has gone on to soft tyres. I can only say that that was a mistake. Because I doubt Santry wants to do another pit stop. It looks like he's going to have to do another pit stop now. Unless he's planning to be so much faster on those soft, simple pit stop, but very debatable. It's not going to happen, is it? Sancho's going to be kicking himself over that mistake later on. And if he doesn't see it as a mistake now, he will do in about 10-15 laps time. So then the race leader will make his way into the pit lane now, followed by BXTN and Binary slamming onto the brakes. Lex stationary. Oh no, he wasn't. It was just a little bit of a hiccup. And in the order that they went in, they come out. Has Owen picked up a place? Oh no, he hasn't picked up any place, has he? Because he was already ahead of these two. Ignore me. So, balance has been restored then. As Santry, yes, switches onto the hard tyre. So he's lost a few places in doing that. But better to do it now. Oh, his Cotton and Goblin has left again. Right. Last time I invite him. He's not letting me know. I'm going to say last time I invite him. Oh, there we go. Right, invite. That's the last one I do for Cotton. Can't keep interrupting the stream for it, but we'll see if he can get into the session and stay in the session. Obviously not his fault, but at the same time, there's only so much we can do. And this pack, it was already pretty bunched up, wasn't it? Before the safety car. Most people, apart from CJ, will be happy. Will be fine with this because it's the order in which they were already in. And about the same distance they already were from each other. Again, the only real benefactor of this is CJ. Binary has put on some soft tyres. Now, the softs could potentially go to the end. We have seen the get about halfway through the race and switch. Okay, so Binary is banking on the softer tyre being faster and giving him the pace early on. He's currently down in 5th at the moment. I'd say because of the safety car being out for a couple of laps. Well, we're going to restart the race on lap 17. It's about 20 laps, isn't it? About 20 laps on the softs rather than 16, 17. So potentially onto something. Santry switched over. So my initial reaction was that it wasn't possible. I think they'll just go off, though. I think those tyres will just go off at the end. It'd be incredible to be proven wrong. Because it'd just be impressive, wouldn't it? Going all the way to the end on those soft tyres when everyone else has the longevity of the hard and the medium. I think those who have managed to get onto the medium potentially have the upper hand here over everybody. The hard will go to the end, but it's a bit slow, and obviously there's a few people that had to make that decision because they were already on the medium, so they couldn't switch to the medium. But the medium will definitely get to the end and will continue to give pace longer than the soft. I think we'll give enough pace over the hard for a long enough time for the hard not to make a significant impact. Lex, at the moment, is winning this race. As I said before, he won 3 in a row, rounds 1, 2, and 3, and didn't win one since. This will be closing him in on Binary's winning tally. Binary with the most wins in the season so far with 5. And surprisingly, I'm Mr. DJ CJ leading the championship, but has only actually had 2 wins this season. He's potentially had he's had a chance to have a few more wins, but late penalties for himself have caused other drivers to pip him in the races. He's lost two races, in fact, to penalties. Won the race on track, but lost the position to a penalty. But still leading the championship. So the safety car is coming in. You see it pulling away now, and it's up to Lex to determine when the restart of this race will be. You see him weaving left to right, warming up. Those medium tyres won't need to warm him up as much as Owen and BXTN and Huff and Dolbach will have to warm their hards. And Lex has gone. Lex has gone. And he's already pulling away from Owen. So he has played that to perfection. And BXTN on the back of Owen has a little look. But no DRS. No DRS for 1 lap as BXTN, Binary and Huff and Dolbach battling it out. Huff and Dolbach remaining behind. Binary up into 4th now. CJ's got his second win, his second chance. He's sticking with Slazenger of Volvo at the moment. But I think those on the mediums maybe at an advantage here. But as I say that, Owen is closing in on Lex. There'll be no DRS this lap. There'll be no DRS the next lap because the detection zone is well before the start-finish line. Binary moves up past BX10 and BX10 loses control of the car, goes off the track into the wall, and Binary and BX10 collide. BX10 losing parts of his front wing. And that is BX10 playing catch-up now, isn't it? Not quite sure what happened there. It looked like they got very close. But Binary coming into contact with yet another driver. He was obviously faster. He had those soft tyres on BXCN into the pit lane. And it's going to be soft tyres to the end, isn't it? No, it's not. It's going to be mediums. And a new front wing. BX10 will be livid with that. I'm not sure if it were Binary's fault, though. It looked very, from the camera angle that I got, maybe I've just... maybe I didn't see it properly, but it just looked like BX10 just lost control of the car rather than Binary actually doing anything there. BX10 some ways off the rest of the field. And we'll have to play catch up. Binary on those soft tyres. Has he done a masterclass of a strategy? Already looking on the inside of Owen, was down in 5th place when the safety car restarted. And is now up into 3rd after just 2 laps of racing. Into 2nd, sorry. After just 2 laps of racing. And is now looking to overtake Lex as well. Slaz has made his way past Huff and Dobak. CJ all over the back of Huff and Dobak as well. And that's got to be coming to a head very soon. We'll go on board with CJ, who's very close to the back of Huff. And it may even happen out of turn 10. DRS. And no DRS for Huff. No. No dice. CJ decides they'll do it on the start-finish straight, which is absolutely fair enough, because it will be incredibly easy if he stays within 2 tenths, as he is right now. Binary then 4 tenths back with Sin. That this is more than enough. Binary with the fastest lap of the race. Goes up past Lex, takes the lead, and Slazenger picks up that fastest lap after him. CJ has taken over, or overtaken, Huff and Dobak. And Lex will want to stick with Binary and not let him escape. It's going to be easier said than done, though. Binary showing incredible pace after this safety car restart on those soft tyres. What has happened there, though? I think Binary's made a slight mistake. So now Lex is all over the back of him. Closing in. Binary closes the door. You got to think. Why did Lex not move up to the inside there to avoid slowing down as much as he did? He's lost a bit of touch with Binary, but he's managed to pull it back. See what the pace difference here does. The DRS, as we said, is incredibly powerful. Lex has a little look, but not close enough this time around. CJ's is going to want to get in touch with Slaz. He is doing. He's just pulled a 10th. That DRS train is going to allow the top 4 to pull away. And the last thing that CJ wants is to be the cork in the bottle, especially with his rival up in first at the moment. And here we go again then. This time, Lex much closer to Binary. 2 tenths behind. DRS open. Pulls up alongside on the start-finish line and moves up into first. Ahead of the Red Bull driver. The XTN 17 seconds off the next guy now. He was 30 seconds back. I think FR Element and David are, well, they are obviously very out of touch with the back of the pack. With the actual pack at the moment. They've lost touch from 8th. The XTN is closing up to FR Element very fast. This will be Binary's turn now. Lex overtook him. And Binary returns the favour, goes up into first on the inside of turn 1. And these two are going to just trade places by the looks of it all the way to the end. Not if Owen and Slaz have anything to do with it. Both of them praying for the driver ahead to make a mistake. So that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a mistake. As they're all so close together in terms of pace. And Lex is so hungry for this win at the moment. Binary won the last race from 6th place. And it looks like he's going to do the same kind of feat again here today. But Lex, it's been so long since he's had a win. Will he have to wait any longer? Got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Car going slowly. Who is that? It's Reese Max. And the safety car right now could turn this entire race on its head, as they always do. 12 laps remaining in the session. 11 laps, I'd say. Discount part of this one. Here we go then. Lex already on the back of Binary. Is he going to make a move up the inside? Turn 11. Yes, he is. Does that put Binary on the back foot? Does it put him in touching distance of Owen? It's that DRS, isn't it? That's aiding Binary, keeping him away from the clutches. The two behind. And if this tyre starts to go off now, if this soft tyre for Binary starts to go off now, it'll prove maybe that it wouldn't go to the end, because it definitely will go to the end at this point, I believe. But it will prove that Binary did not do enough in the opening stages of his stint. He needed to get ahead of Lex. He needed to pull away from Lex. He needed to get outside a second and break that DRS. That didn't happen. And if these soft tyres go off, then he will definitely be in the clutches of Owen, of Slaz, maybe even CJ. Four tenths back again. Remains behind. Thinks better of it. Santry and Huff and Dobak getting incredibly close together. Santry makes his way up past Huff and Dobak. And that was Haas on Aston Martin. Believe it or not. Owen at the moment has looked a bit... He's just staying behind, isn't he? I don't know if it's a lack of being able to close in because of the DRS, or if it's just Owen biding his time. I'm not sure, but he's running out of laps if he's going to do anything, if he's going to make an impression on the win of this race. In fact, it's actually very likely that he's about to lose third place at the moment to Slaz. Has a little look on the inside, but yeah, didn't pull enough. Didn't pull enough alongside to make that overtake count. Dobak and Santry changing places again. PXTN is on the back of FR Element. Making his way up the inside of turn 14. Being incredibly cautious. Not. The two of them bang wheels. PXTN makes it up into 10th. A bit dicey there. To be a lot scarier than it needed to be for BXTN. But he's now back within the points after a late pit stop on that contact with Binary earlier on, immediately after the safety car restart. It couldn't have happened at a worse time. And here comes Binary. On Lex again, makes his way up into first place around the inside, but Lex is going to hang it out on the outside of turn 1. But loses ground and has to slot back in. Through turn 4, they go up to 5. 5 and 6, essentially non-corners, but 7. There's Lex so fast through there compared to Binary. And what does this look like from Slazenger's POV? The 4 cars all close together. And is this Slaz's opportunity? You just see. Just doesn't look like that Slaz has a straight line speed over Owen. Seven laps remaining in this session. Binary, Lex, Owen, Slaz. All battling it out for first place. Owen all over the back of Lex now. And Lex is going to say, no, not today. Not now, not ever. It's the moment he loses touch with Binary, that is his chances of winning over. If it is anything, if Owen's lack of overtaking Lex is anything to judge by, if Owen gets past Lex, Lex is going to find it incredibly hard to make it back past. He's got another yellow flag in Sector 1. As Cotton the Goblin disconnects again. This time, I'm not going to be able to send him an invite. We are running out of laps here in this race. And they're all so close together. This has been incredible so far. Owen has lost the place, or has gained ground, sorry, on Lex. It's all over the back of him. It looks incredibly fast at the moment. It looks like he's on fast forward. A single mistake from any of these drivers could shake up the entire four of them and the order that they finish. Well, a big lock up there. I don't know who that was. It looked like someone a bit further back. Maybe Owen or Slaz. Again with the DRS. Here goes Sassinger of Volvo. Owen on Owen. Into turn one. Owen's going to try and hang it on the outside as Lex tried to whiz Binary. But Owen slots back in behind Slaz. Slaz is now up into third place, up onto the podium. Owen has been caught sleeping, it looks like. He's going to desperately try and get back past because Owen has not been able to make an impression on Lex this entire time. So will Owen not be able to get that place back now as well? He's all over the back of Slazenger of Volvo at the moment. We're in the final stages of this race. Owen has done more than enough to get on the podium. But is it going to be cruelly taken away from him in the last moments by Slaz, who is now on a charge? Just 2/10 behind Lex. Closing in. Oh, it's looking very, very, very close indeed. Where has this pace all of a sudden come from? As Lex moves up on the inside of Binary. And again, in the closing stages, the lead changes. Lex, Binary, Slaz, Owen. It's been about 5 different orders from about lap 14. And here we go again. Slaz and Binary so close together. And CJ was sat about 2.9 seconds behind. That is now 2 seconds. They'll have these hard tyres come into play. Binary still on the back of Lex. Them tyres, them soft tyres, still have life in them. Lex is going to get a help in a DRS, isn't he, though? Yes, he is, from the 2 back markers. This will aid Lex in trying to keep that lead away from Binary. Reese Max picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I think that was going off the track slightly, trying to get out of the way of Lex, or losing control of the car in sheer panic. It looks like one or the other. As Binary is now looking very close to being outside of DRS range of Lex. The short DRS zone will bring him back into touch. This is Lex's perfect opportunity, though, to break it. I don't think it's going to happen. No, it's not. Binary 7/10 back. Make that 4. And yet DRS keeping Binary in check, in play with Lex at the moment. And Dobak and Santry trading positions again. And these two have been going back and forth for a very long time. As it stands, Binary will just be 4 points behind CJ in the driver's standings. We are coming up to the final lap of the race. It's going to be now or never for anybody wanting to make an overtake. You're going to get one more opportunity in a very short DRS zone. So it has to be now. Binary moving up on the inside of Lex on the first turn. Lex is going to try and hang it out, but it's not enough. Binary takes the lead of this race in the last lap. And those soft tyres have worked an absolute treat, haven't they? They won't last, he said. They're not going to go far enough, he said. They're not going to have the pace, he said. Well, he was wrong, and Binary has made that overtaking move for the win on the final lap. And Lex is going to try and... Lex is making a move. Or trying to make a move before turn 8, 9. But I think he's putting him out of place, actually. Putting him a bit out of position. And Lex on the inside of Binary now. Binary's losing 2 places. Lex with no DRS. Slaz has moved up past Binary. Binary's going to try and hold on. Late on the brakes, on the inside. That puts Slaz out of place. Owen is going to try and take the position back. We are on the final lap. We're on the final few corners. Lex is ahead. Binary's in second. He did take the lead. He's lost the lead. Lex about to cross the line. Owen and Slaz battling it out. Lex wins the Dutch Grand Prix. Binary to the line, just a 10th behind. Owen in third, completes our podium. Slazenger just misses out by 3/10. I Mr. DJ. CJ finishes in 5th. Huffen, Dorback and Santry battling it out. Just a second and a half between them. 6th and 7th. Cotton and Goblin disconnected from the session. I'm not sure if Cotton is going to keep his place. I'll speak to CJ after this. But if Cotton keeps his place, he's finishing on the track in 8th. Huffen, Dorback in 9th. BX10 after that collision with Binary. Well... I'm not sure like how much of it was BX10 and how much of it was Binary, but essentially that absolutely ruined his race, whether it was his own fault or not. Going to finish in 10th and pick up the 1 lone point. I'll be very disappointed with that. Resmax and FR Element have already finished in 11th and 12th due to being lapped already. All the way to the line. That was absolutely incredible, wasn't it? Binary trying to eke out that last bit of battery at the very end with the DRS open. There was a potential that he was about to take the lead away from Lex at the very end. But Lex wins after a very long dry spell for wins. And 3 in a row, as I said at the beginning of the stream. And then hasn't had one since. But he's picked up one now on round 15. And it was a great race between all the drivers. Had such an incredible race. And I know it was unfortunate for some. But seriously, well done to everybody that competed. Okay then, so here we go. Here's our finishing order one more time. Lex picks up the win and picks up 25 points for his championship chances. However, Binary picks up 18 points and ekes his way a little bit further closer to Mr. DJ CJ. That puts him just 4 points behind his championship rival and teammate. Owen finishes 3rd. He gets the podium at the end. I said he deserved it. Well, he managed to get it in the final stages. Slaz looked like he was going to pick up 2nd or 1st in the final corners, but that late break from Binary made sure that Slazenger did not pick up 2nd, did not even pick up the podium. Slaz in 4th. 5th, I Mr. DJ CJ. Didn't really seem to have the pace on the hard tyre. Seemed to have the pace early on, but lost a little bit of his front wing. So that made a detriment. Huff and Dolbach, Santry, Cotton the Goblin, David Kovalaki, BX10 with the fastest lap, Reese Max, FR Element, and Ace round out your finishers. Well then, thank you very much everybody who watched. Next week we are in... Just give me 2 seconds. We are in Monza, so the Temple of Speed will be there Tuesday 9:30 p.m. If you did like the stream, please don't forget to follow. You'll find all the replays and more on my YouTube channel, Archer Above. And again, thank you very much everybody who watched. We'll see you again next week at 9:30 p.m. Bye bye for now.